Okay, folks, I'm back, and I've been thinking again, and that's always trouble. And what I've been thinking this time is that it's about time we really get a little bit deeper into snaps and figure out what these things are and how these things work. So let's start by giving us a little something to work with. I'm going to draw a line here. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. I'm going to draw a circle here, and I'm going to draw maybe another line going through here. So another one of my sophisticated abstract art pieces. You'll forgive it if I didn't give you something more clever to look at, but I'm really just kind of focused on teaching you AutoCAD at the moment. So sign up for my art course if I ever teach one, and don't worry, I'll deliver on prettier graphics. For now, let's talk about snap points. If you look down here at this bottom toolbar, you've got something that says Show Snapping Reference Lines, Object Snap Tracking, and then you've got something next to that that says Snap Cursor to 2D Reference Points. And I've got both of those turned on. So let me click this arrow next to those two and see what these snap points actually are. And right there, wow, look at that. We've got a nice list of all of our snap points, and it's telling us with these check marks exactly what's turned on and what's not turned on. And that is pretty awesome. We can go through these things. So let's look at our end point. Well, we know what an end point is already. Let's imagine I want to draw a line, and I want to connect it to one of the ends of this line right here. Well, you see how whenever I get close to the edge, I get a little square, and then I get a little hovering tooltip that says end point. Guess what? Those are end points, and any straight lines have them. Let's take a look at this rectangle. You see each corner is the end of two different lines, so that is an end point. And if I want to draw a line from this end point to this end point, it's very easy to do so. And that line is going to be very, very, very precise. It's going to be exactly right on that point, not close to it. It's going to be dead on. That's great. So let's come back down here and click on this arrow again. Another important one, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm just going to go through the ones that we're going to be using 99% of the time. The next one is the midpoint. So again, let's say I'm looking at straight geometry here. I'm looking at lines. I want to go from the midpoint of this bottom line on this rectangle to the midpoint of this line up here. Well, just like I have the end point with the square, when I get to the middle, a triangle pops up, and that triangle says midpoint. And I've got a midpoint down here too. You know, I don't even have to guess where the middle of that line is. All I have to do is get into a command. See, if I'm just putting my crosshairs there, I have no reason to have a snap point because I'm not doing anything, so it's not going to show me snap points. But when I'm trying to draw something, let's say I'm trying to draw a circle, now that I'm trying to draw something, it's going to show me every snap point available. So it's real easy to find those things, and as long as I just get somewhere in the middle, it's going to tell me where the middle is. That is awesome. That's a big time saver. Could you imagine having to calculate distances and plug in coordinates if you didn't have snap points? Drawing would take forever. Nobody wants that. That's why AutoCAD's so awesome. Okay, I'm not doing a commercial for AutoCAD. I'm teaching this stuff. So let's get back to our list of snap points. Next one we want to look at is this center point. Now, you can see this icon. It shows a point in the middle of a circle. That's because centers are in the middle of circles. So if you're looking for the center of a line, it's not going to be a center. It's going to be a midpoint. That makes sense, right? Let's try it out. I'm going to click on my line tool, and when I get close to this circle, and I have to get kind of on the actual line of the circle, you see it all of a sudden shows me a plus sign. Now, that plus sign, when I get close to that, it's going to turn into a circle, and there's my center. Real easy to find the center of a circle, and that's the snap point for it. Very cool. I'm going to clean this line out of here for right now because I don't want to see it. Okay, so let's go back to our list of snap points. Then this is one that was just added not too long ago in a previous version of AutoCAD, geometric center. And this was something that a lot of us were asking for and crying about because it wasn't there. We would have a rectangle and we'd say, you know what, I need the center of my rectangle, but there isn't a snap point for it. So let me show you what we had to do. We had to create a line from like one edge, and then we had to use an extension from the snap point on the adjacent side, and we'd create that line. And then once we had a line that went into the center of that rectangle, then we could go ahead and use the endpoint of that line to create whatever additional features we wanted. So that was this extra step that was really kind of a pain in the butt, but now we've got this geometric center. So whenever we've got any kind of polygon, let's go ahead and create a polygon of, let's give it 6 sides. And I'm going to put the center of it here, and I'm going to say that it's circumscribed about a circle. And don't worry about how to use this polygon tool because it's not something you're going to need a lot doing piping drawings. There, I've got this hexagon, and I want to draw a line, and when I get close to it, look, there is my geometric center. So any geometric form that I create, it's now going to give me a snap point for the center of that. That is an awesome thing. Back to our list. This node is not something that we're going to use a lot of. That's why by default it's disabled, and that's why I'm not really going to get into it in this course. It would be a waste of your time. But quadrants, now those deserve some attention. Quadrants are awesome. When you're looking at a circle, I click on it, you see I've got these 4 points, top, bottom, left, and right. Those are our quadrants, and we're going to use those quite a bit. So if I want to draw some lines between these quadrants, look, I get a diamond shape. So we have squares for endpoints, we have triangles for midpoints, we have circles for centers, and we have diamonds for quadrants. So they really went all out to give us a whole bunch of different shapes just so we don't get bored, and you got to appreciate that. So if I want to draw a square inscribed in this circle, that is not a problem. I can go from quadrant to quadrant, and look at that. It's beautiful. I'm getting more and more artistic as this course goes. I love it. So that's interesting. Let's get back to our snap points. Come on, guys, you're getting me distracted. Let's stay on subject. Okay, intersection. This is another cool one. Let's say that I went ahead and drew a line somewhere across this rectangle, but for whatever reason, where that line crosses that rectangle is pretty important. No problem. I've got a snap point there, shown by an X. It hovers and says intersection, and I can work straight from that intersection where those 2 lines meet. So again, another awesome snap point that we will make use of. Next is extension. Extensions are pretty nice. I'm drawing a line here, and I want this line to come up to the bottom of my rectangle. Well, I don't want to come over here and use the midpoint. I don't want to use the end point. But look at that. When I go to the end point, and as soon as I move away, I've got this little green dashed line that appears and goes all the way across my screen. And guess what? That's an extension. So I can follow that extension all the way out, and even if I want to draw this line at some kind of crazy angle, I've got a snap point anywhere along that extension. I can click it right there, and guess what? This end point of this line is exactly on the level of the bottom line of this rectangle. So you should be looking at this thing right now thinking, wow, this thing's pretty powerful. You can really do a lot of accurate, precise drawing and really quick. Yes, you can. So this is awesome. There's more, don't worry. Okay, insertion. We're really not going to worry about that because it's not something we're going to use a lot of. Perpendicular. It's not something we're going to use a whole lot of. Neither is tangent, neither is nearest, neither is apparent. And parallel, again, it's something that might pop up, but probably not much doing the kind of systems that we're going to be designing. So for now, I think we've got more than enough snap points to get us going and get us through this course. And without bogging you down with a whole bunch of superfluous information, again, I'm not trying to make you an AutoCAD expert. I'm not even an AutoCAD expert. I'm trying to get you to a point where you can do what I can do, and that's model an entire piped system in under a week. So you've got the snap points that you need to do it, and you've already seen most of these in this course, I know that, but I just wanted you to be exposed to the tools, to know exactly what you were looking at, where those things are coming from, how to turn them on and off, and to get a look at some of the existing possibilities and the other kinds of snaps. I recommend take yourself 5 minutes, go online, research these other snap points, see what they can do for you. That's more kind of a fun thing if you're just really fascinated by snap points. But what you've got now is going to be more than enough to do what you need to do, and you're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to go grab a Coke.